In the 6th year of our divorce, Sophia suddenly said she regrets it. She regretted cheating and betraying our marriage all those years ago. Perhaps seeing me alone now, she assumed I still loved her as deeply as before, that even after her infidelity and our divorce, I'd keep waiting for her return. What she never imagined was that I'd already remarried, with a child who just turned 3. Sophia chose to confront me because she discovered her pregnancy. The ultrasound showed an 8-week gestational sac. Since I'd just returned from a 3-month business trip, the child obviously wasn't mine. Sitting across from me with glacial detachment, she confessed the affair had started 6 months prior. She refused to name her lover, only stating she wanted to keep the baby and legitimize her relationship. Naturally, this meant divorcing me. For a moment, I doubted my hearing. Could I really have been a cuckold for half a year? Before I could voice the question, she met my gaze expressionlessly. You heard right. Staring at the woman I'd loved for 5 years. I felt sharp pains spreading through my chest, my legs threatening to buckle. I'd never imagined our marriage could fracture like this. Sophia had always been beautiful yet aloof, the untouchable ice queen during our college years. Countless suitors had pursued her, but only my 2-year relentless courtship succeeded. I adored her completely, even when she never verbalized affection during our relationship. I'd assumed my presence had become her constant. We married shortly after graduation. 3 years dating. 2 years married. Yet she strayed within 5? My mind rebelled, desperately seeking excuses for her betrayal. I wanted to plead against divorce, but seeing her marble-carved composure, the words died. Soul, searching truth. Even if she wanted reconciliation, could I accept her tainted by another's child? Never. The realization crystallized. She'd become unworthy. Our shared years clearly taught Sophia nothing about my core. She only knew my devotion, which perhaps made her fear potential resistance. After declaring divorce, she made a call and fled with her keys, leaving me to drown alone. She returned next morning to find me on the balcony amidst cigarette graveyard, having weathered night, long winds, and torment. Her impeccable appearance contrasted starkly with my dishevelment as we faced off across the living room. Made up your mind? Her question hung between us. Made up my mind, I echoed bitterly. In every past disagreement, regardless of fault, I'd always folded first. Not once had she conceded. With mirthless laugh, I ground out the last cigarette underfoot, ignoring the shooting numbness as I challenged. Why? Why cheat? Through 7 years of acquaintance and 5 as lovers, I'd imagined countless divorce scenarios overnight. Any reason but infidelity might have been forgivable. But this? Never. Sophia averted her gaze, irritation flickering. No, why? John, our relationship is over. Can't we part civilly? Our relationship is over. Civil parting. I forced a cracked smile. Let's divorce. My uncharacteristic compliance clearly surprised her. She studied me momentarily, lips parting then sealing without comment. With my consent, the divorce proceeded smoothly. We didn't even notify our parents, hastily obtaining the divorce certificate with the same urgency as our marriage license. Regarding marital assets, I fought fiercely for what was rightfully mine. No way would I let Sophia and her lover benefit. Though she resisted, Sophia's status as the at-fault party and inferior connections in H-City left her outmatched. Ultimately, she surrendered most savings in exchange for keeping our house. She bit her lip, humiliation flashing across her face. John, you earn more. I need stability for our child. At least let me keep the house. I sneered. Where's your lover? Can't he house you? Her expression confirmed the truth. The marital home, purchased with both families' contributions, wasn't worth prolonged fighting. I relented but demanded greater concessions from our savings. Sophia stared as if I were a stranger, which I was. Now that love had died, my sparse belongings took minutes to pack. Walking out without glancing back, I noted her dry-eyed composure. For the first time, I wondered what man could drive her to betray principles she'd once scorned. I resisted investigating. Clean breaks honor dead relationships. Next morning, Claire's WeChat message arrived. "Who's the guy with my cousin?" Followed by snickering emojis. After prolonged staring, I replied icily, "Ask Sophia yourself." Before deleting her contact, Claire's lifelong dislike of me made this taunt predictable and ignorable. Amid the bustling crowd, disorientation struck. This city I'd built a career in suddenly felt alien. Resignation letter submitted. I spent a month visiting landmarks like farewell rituals. My entire adulthood had orbited Sophia. No wonder she'd grown weary. 2 hours before departure, Sophia called. "Leaving H City?" Her monotone voice held its usual chill. "Impressive intel network." I mocked. Long silence. "Do what you want." The click echoed finality. Past me would have groveled with gifts after that tone. Not anymore. At the telecom store, I terminated my number, severance ritual. My hometown's dusty roads welcomed me. Grandmother gripped my hand, scolding my weight loss while sunlight gilded her wrinkles. Walking home, childhood memories surfaced. How many village sunsets had she waited, hoping I'd step off that bus during my Sophia-obsessed years? Raised by her, I'd never bonded with parents. They remained unaware of my divorce or resignation. As fireflies emerged, I vowed to repay her loneliness. This woman who'd loved me unconditionally while I chased shadows. On the 12th day after my return, the neighbor from next door came over with her phone to see Grandma. When I noticed the complicated look in her eyes as she glanced at me, I instantly knew it was my parents calling. As Grandma handed me the phone, Mother's furious shouting already pierced through the receiver. I hung up without changing my expression. Within a minute, the phone rang again. The moment I uttered hello, her voice escalated even louder. I disconnected once more. After 4 or 5 rounds of this, Mother finally calmed down enough to stop yelling. Instead, she demanded my new phone number, chastising me for not informing her about something as significant as my divorce. "What were you even thinking?" she snapped. I pressed my lips together and replied flatly, "I was thinking, it's been nearly 2 months since the divorce. This time, you remembered me a bit sooner than last." The line went silent. When I was young, my family struggled financially. After I was born, my parents decided to seek opportunities elsewhere, leaving me with Grandma. Years later, they'd made some money, but they'd also gained a new child, a brother. The reason for his existence, I later learned, was because I'd been distant with them. During one summer visit when I was 11 and he was 6, they tried to bond with me. My brother, whom I'd barely met, treated me with outright hostility. Once, I simply moved his haphazardly discarded Ultraman toys from the couch to the table. Yet by the time our parents returned, some figures had mysteriously lost arms or legs. My brother clutched the mutilated toys, sniffling silently. He knew they'd side with him. Sure enough, their eyes settled on me with disappointment. It wasn't me. I insisted, but Mother waved me off. "Fine, fine. We know it wasn't you." Later, I overheard her whisper to Father, "What has your mother turned this child into?" New toys eventually replaced the broken ones, locked in a storage room only the 3 of them could access. I've always had a seafood allergy, something Grandma never forgot. Our meals at her house never included it. Before my visit, she'd reminded Mother to avoid seafood. Mother agreed. Yet on my 3rd day there, a bowl of seafood porridge sent me to the emergency room. As I struggled to breathe, my parents' shrill argument echoed through the hospital door. How was I supposed to know? Mother snapped. Father retorted, "Mom told you. I can't remember every little thing." She shot back. "Besides, he's old enough to know better." If his brother wanted it, he should have just said no, probably just being greedy. Now, their anger likely had little to do with my divorce from Sophia and everything to do with me quitting my stable, high-paying job. They feared I'd compete with my brother for the family assets. Otherwise, why call it all? The matter must have seemed urgent. My parents showed up that very night, my college-aged brother in tow. When our eyes met, his gleeful smirk froze mid-grin. 2 years had deepened my parents' wrinkles and hardened mother's features into something sharp. She ignored Grandma's warm greeting, glaring at me instead. "John," she seethed before even sitting down. "You've grown too bold. Divorce? Quitting your job? No discussion?" Grandma looked between us, stunned but silent. I stared at the cigarette burning between my fingers, unfazed. "John," Mother's voice sharpened. "Is this how you treat your own mother? No wonder your marriage failed. You're utterly—" Father tugged her arm, cutting her off. "Enough," he muttered. She stiffened, too proud to apologize, but smart enough to shut up. Father's pleading glance suggested I should apologize instead. Me? For being insulted? Since when do children owe parents their dignity? Grandma brought tea, urging calm. Mother sneered. "What do you know? You're the one who spoiled him." She'd always scapegoated Grandma, who endured it for peace. I stubbed out my cigarette and turned to Father. "How did you know I was back?" He hesitated. "Sophia called. She said she couldn't reach you, was worried." I almost laughed. She cheated. She got pregnant. She filed for divorce, claiming we've grown apart. I didn't fight it. Once it's over, it's over. So why track me down now? Mother rambled on about Sophia's virtues, each compliment laced with digs at my flaws. "She tolerated so much from you," she said, as if I'd won some twisted lottery. I listened expressionlessly as she belittled me by comparing me to Sophia. When she finally finished dredging up old grievances and concluded that I was mentally unstable, questioning how I could abandon my career just for divorce, I realized, yes, any sane person wouldn't be enduring this. Some foolish hope must still linger in me, regardless of my mother's vitriol. The divorce was final and my resignation irreversible. That night, shivering in the cold without even a word of comfort, clarity struck. Why waste my remaining years on someone who never loved me? My mother insisted I use this career gap to immediately find new employment. My father agreed, both urging me to secure a job quickly while emphasizing my irrelevant education compared to family business needs. Their desperation to block me from competing with my brother laid bare, rubbing my throbbing temples. I cut them off. "Are you done?" 3 pairs of eyes snapped toward me, parents and smirking brother alike, shocked by my uncharacteristic defiance. Decades of compliance had emboldened her cruelty. Today, that ended. "Leave," I said flatly, "before the last train departs." Her finger jabbed at my face as she screeched, "Ungrateful wretch and heartless creature." Meeting her glare, I walked out. Coldness is hereditary. Mine came from them, no one else to blame. At a local inn, Sophia's call lit my screen. She'd somehow obtained my new number. Watching the memorized digits flash 7 times, I finally answered. Silence stretched until the timer hit 20 seconds. "We agreed to clean breaks," I said. "Don't contact me again." The click of disconnection preceded her blacklisting. Post-divorce persistence? Unbecoming. Perhaps she missed having a devoted doormat after 5 years of meticulous care. My parents, true to form, left within days rather than risk prolonged discomfort. For 7 days, my phone stayed dead until Grandma found me, octogenarian legs trudging miles from village to town, sunset gilding her sparse white hair. "They're gone, John," she smiled, gums peeking through. "Come home." The dam broke then. This stoic adult wept seeing her bent frame, remembering childhood nights when she'd wait at the village entrance however late I studied. Back home, Unread tirades flooded my phone. Parents' wrath and Sophia's final message. Be well. Just wanted confirmation you're safe. No more contact. Well wishes? Hypocrisy. Let karma handle the adulteress. 7 figures in savings bought freedom. With Grandma. I wandered 3 months across mountains and lakes until encountering Emily in some nameless town. The high school legend, top student with curves that haunted teenage dreams, now stood before me. Her aloof reputation intact, yet softened by time's erosion. During high school, I barely had any interaction with Emily, only aware of her existence. Later, we entered the same university and inevitably crossed paths a few times, remaining mere acquaintances who exchanged polite nods. Emily carried her camera and simple luggage, traveling alone across the country. Unlike the sickly pale complexion from before, her skin now glowed with healthy warmth, and even loose sportswear couldn't conceal her well-developed figure. While Sophia possessed striking beauty, Emily's charm lay in her approachable grace. Her gentle demeanor felt like sinking into warm water, finding familiar company in foreign lands and sharing the same next destination. We naturally decided to travel together. Emily spoke sparingly but showed respect to elders, read social cues effortlessly, and knew how to cheer up seniors. My grandmother grew particularly fond of her. One night, while stargazing through the skylight with Grandma, she suddenly remarked, "That Emily girl is quite nice." I forced a dry chuckle, understanding her implication. Yes, she is. Elderly minds tend to overinterpret romantic possibilities between youngsters. Though Emily and I shared common interests, an insurmountable gap existed between us. I admired her, but that didn't equate to affection. Moreover, being divorced made me unworthy of her. Grandma needed 2 days rest at each stop to recover, making me anxious about delaying Emily's itinerary. When I suggested she proceed ahead, Emily simply smiled. "We can part ways at the next destination. I'd like to linger here too." The misty rain of the Jiangnan region transformed ancient towns into living paintings. Surrounded by such beauty, I found myself stealing glances at Emily. Her scholarly elegance and soft facial features contrasted sharply with Sophia's bold attractiveness, radiating approachability from first impression. Noticing my gaze, Emily smiled gently, distant mountain ranges reflecting in her crescent-shaped dark eyes like embodiments of open-mindedness, meandering through cobblestone alleys veiled in thin mist. The scene resembled celestial realms. When I proposed exploring to Grandma, she declined, preferring to chat with local elders under tiled eaves. Their heavily accented attempts at Mandarin communication dissolved into shared laughter despite mutual incomprehension. Watching this scene, I heard approaching footsteps. Turning, I saw Emily emerging through the drizzle holding an paper umbrella. She stopped beside me, movements fluid as streaming water, an entirely new dimension of her I'd never witnessed. "Shall we walk together?" she asked. Precisely my intention. Taking the umbrella, I tilted it toward her. Though nearly a head shorter, she matched my stride effortlessly. We wandered through moss-covered brick pathways, conversations primarily sustained by my efforts. Emily listened intently, answering questions with earnest precision as if seeking textbook responses. Observing her delicate profile, I felt subtle regret. Such a pity I'd outgrown the age for spontaneous infatuation. We parted ways at the next stop, crossing 3 mountain ranges and 2 lakes afterward. I never glimpsed her again, having left with Grandma in early winter. We returned by late summer. Grandma's laughter multiplied, her clicking walks now punctuated by enthusiastic travel tales. Village elders listened with unconcealed envy to her descriptions of vast landscapes. However linguistically limited, some neighbors couldn't resist needling me about marriage or career during casual chats. Grandma's smile would freeze, eventually sighing, "Young people's affairs are beyond our control." The meddlesome old woman would shoot meaningful looks before dropping the subject. After days of rest, new life plans crystallized. Contrary to parental worries, I'd no interest in family business, weary of corporate bloodshed without visible blades. My agricultural coursework, though my major was civil engineering, found purpose in rural soil. Leasing several acres, I planned flower cultivation. Here, finally, I could cultivate tranquility alongside blossoms. In recent years, many people have become more attentive to holidays, keeping flower sales relatively stable. Wanting to settle down and cultivate my character, I figured gardening would be the perfect pursuit. Over the following months, Claire contacted me several times through her friend's WeChat, subtly probing whether I'd truly moved on from Sophia. They probably saw my dignified exit after years of devotion as mere strategy. The time and emotional investment I'd poured into Sophia made walking away feel like discarding my youth. But when my newly leased farmland required urgent greenhouse construction, I had neither energy nor desire to entertain Claire's games. I've always known when to cut my losses. As the greenhouses neared completion, an unexpected visitor arrived. Emily sat chatting with my grandmother in the courtyard, her slender silhouette gilded by sunset. Sensing my presence, she turned with a soft smile. "I was passing by and thought I'd visit," she said. My stagnant heart lurched violently before settling into its numb rhythm. Emily's brief visit gradually became indefinite. Each dawn, she'd accompany me to the fields with her camera, documenting our walks. Sometimes I'd trek far ahead only to find her lingering behind, captivated by some rustic detail. At the flower beds, she'd share her morning captures: mist-shrouded farmsteads, chimney smoke weaving through patchwork fields, tile-roofed houses nestled in emerald hills. Our rural scenery unfolded through her lens with unexpected poetry. One foggy morning, I suddenly realized how closely we stood. Our flustered gazes collided, then darted away. The faint blush coloring Emily's cheeks finally alerted me to shifting undercurrents. When the first seedlings emerged, I invited Emily for wine in the greenhouse shed. Tipsy, I confessed my tangled history with Sophia. Emily's intelligent eyes narrowed slightly before she sighed. Under amber lamplight, she stated firmly, "You didn't need to explain. I already knew." She never revealed how she'd learned my story. Post Sophia, I doubted my capacity for love. Whatever this was between us, timing felt wrong. Maybe I imagined things. Perhaps Emily simply enjoyed documenting agricultural life. But as autumn sprouts hardened into winter buds, the travel blogger who'd vowed to conquer mountains now meticulously chronicled our flowers' growth. Habits breed insidiously. Within months, I'd grown accustomed to Emily's quiet presence, her camera clicks harmonizing with birdsong, her laughter rippling through greenhouse mist. Like spring rain nourishing parched soil, she seeped into my routines unnoticed. New Year passed swiftly. On the spring equinox, greenhouse roses bloomed crimson. Examining a dew-kissed blossom, I didn't notice Emily approach until her soap, fresh scent enveloped me. The rose paled against her beauty. Impulsively, I offered the flower. "Do you like roses, Emily?" Her dark eyes held mine as she accepted the bloom. After inhaling its fragrance, she smiled. "Yes." "Which yes?" I pressed hoarsely. "The roses? Or?" Our gazes locked as countless unsaid words vibrated between us. In that moment, entire flower fields dimmed beside her radiance. I heard my emotional barricades crumble thunderously. When March's peach blossoms fell like pink snow, I knelt among rose bushes and pledged my heart properly. I'd simply needed time to recognize, after obsessive love's wildfire. True affection grows quietly, like perennials pushing through thawing soil. Senior Emily Davis showed no surprise. even accepting my feelings without hesitation. Our dynamic remained unchanged despite our new relationship. Over 6 months, her gentle nature stayed consistent with our first meeting. Grandma adored her even more than me. By March, my flower fields established stable online and offline sales channels, eliminating surplus issues. When my parents learned about my floral business, their call revealed subtle shifts. Sensing my disinterest in competing with my brother for family assets, Mother's tone softened slightly, though her words still dripped with disdain for my unambitious gardening career. I calmly stated, "Since you're so ashamed of me, consider me never born." Mother's nagging ceased abruptly. Father seized the phone, scolding my immaturity. I laughed. "You already have an obedient son. My existence is redundant." After his sigh and disconnected call, I inhaled floral-scented air as Emily approached with baby's breath. She noticed my subdued mood despite my neutral expression, studying the flowers, symbolizing silent devotion. Memories surfaced. Sophia used to criticize my stubbornness during family conflicts. Embracing Emily, I felt her heartbeat accelerate against mine. 6 years later, our 3-year-old daughter prepared for preschool. Returning to H-City for residency paperwork, we visited the police station. While Emily handled documentation, I smoked outside. At a street corner, Sophia appeared. Our gazes locked. Crushing my cigarette, I turned to leave when she called. "John." She approached, eyes reddening. "When did you return?" "Business trip." I clipped. "Move." Her voice cracked. "I regret everything, the affair, divorcing you." Realization struck. She assumed I remained single, pining for her. Emily's voice pierced the tension. "John?" Our daughter skipped toward us. Sophia's shock mirrored the poetic justice I'd craved. Life's warmth now resided in the family she'd never anticipated. "Dad." Sophia froze, then whipped around toward the voice. She saw Emily standing there. Perhaps she recognized Emily too, for her face turned deathly pale the instant their eyes met. She stared at Emily and the little girl for several heartbeats before turning disbelieving eyes toward me, her lower lip trembling as she struggled to form words. Our daughter broke free from Emily's grasp and ran toward me. I crouched down to scoop her up, her small arms immediately locking around my neck as she buried her face against my shoulder, chanting "Daddy" like sacred scripture. I patted her back soothingly before meeting Sophia's gaze. 6 years had passed, yet she remained strikingly beautiful, the same statuesque figure, the same arresting features. Only now her beauty carried worldly wisdom. The icy goddess of our youth transformed into a woman radiating intellectual grace. There were no hollow pleasantries between us, no lingering resentment. Whatever love and bitterness I'd harbored had dissolved like morning mist over these years. Sophia's attention remained fixed on the child in my arms, her expression shifting through emotions too complex to name. I understood without words the shock of realizing her backup plan hadn't remained frozen in time. How ironic that after all this time, we'd both built new lives elsewhere. When I finally broke the silence, my words cut like shards of ice. Marriage not working out? The vicious satisfaction came unbidden, poetic justice for the woman who'd shattered our vows. Before Sophia could respond, Emily approached. Even her greeting carried that signature gentleness. "Long time no see." "John." Sophia's hands clenched into white, knuckled fists at her sides, forcing a smile that looked more like a grimace. Our daughter's sleepy murmur of "mommy" drew Emily's tender smile as she stroked the child's hair. Without conscious thought, I intertwined my fingers with Emily's, declaring to Sophia, "my wife." Those 3 simple words landed like stones in deep water. Sophia's gaze dropped to our joined hands, her eyes darkening into unreadable pools. After murmuring assurances to our daughter, Emily gave my hand a gentle squeeze. "Shall we go?" Am I not? We turned to leave, only to collide with another ghost from our past. Michael stood frozen before us, the boy clutching his hand breaking free with an excited cry of "Mommy." As he ran to Sophia, the puzzle pieces clicked into brutal clarity. I glanced back to see Sophia biting her lip, refusing to meet my eyes. Emily's grip tightened around mine as we moved forward. Michael strained congratulations. John stopped me mid-step. My bitter laugh hung between us. Thanks to your assistance. The words dripped with decades-old venom. Let the homewrecker choke on his hypocrisy. Back home, our family settled into familiar rhythms, carefully avoiding any mention of Sophia. Until the afternoon, I found Emily staring grimly out the window, our daughter nestled against her shoulder. Following her gaze, I saw Sophia in our yard conversing with Grandma, her eyes repeatedly darting toward our house. Emily pressed a kiss to our child's head before fixing me with that rare steel-edged look. Stay inside. The door clicked shut behind her as she strode out to meet our uninvited guest. Through the glass, I watched the two women, one radiating quiet strength, the other vibrating with restless energy, their confrontation humming with unspoken history beneath the afternoon sun. I glanced past Sophia and looked at Emily. Once my gaze landed, I couldn't look away. In my memory, Emily had always been gentle and considerate. This version of her, tense and filled with hostility, was something I'd never witnessed before. I studied her longer than intended, unaware of the smile curling my lips. When Emily pushed open the door, my lingering grin caught her off guard. Her dark eyes deepened as she asked with measured calm, "Something amusing?" Recognizing her misunderstanding, I clarified, "I've never seen you show such open animosity toward anyone." Her expression softened as she scooped up our daughter's building blocks, leaning against my shoulder with the child between us. Her warm breath brushed my ear. "Go settle this." After a heartbeat, she added quietly, "Be civil." Under the grapevines, Sophia and I stood facing each other. 2 weeks had etched exhaustion into her features, her wrinkled clothes betraying uncharacteristic disarray. The silence stretched thick between us until Grandma rose with her cane. "The yard feels stuffy," she declared before retreating. When the gate clicked shut, I broke the stalemate. All these years, there's one question I've wanted answered. Faint hope flickered in Sophia's eyes, perhaps anticipating a romantic inquiry. My lips curved as I stepped closer, whispering, "Was the affair worth it?" Her manicured fingers whitened on the trellis. "I'm sorry." The 6-year delayed apology trembled out. I thought. Thought what? My voice stayed frosty. That I'd pine eternally after your betrayal? We're past 30. Sophia. No one owes anyone lifelong penance. Her crimson, veined eyes held mine. "John," she finally said, "you'll doubt this, but after the divorce, I regretted it." The confession sparked bitter laughter. We both knew her remorse stemmed not from genuine change, but from witnessing my rebuilt happiness. Even now, she presumed my enduring weakness for her. When I urged her departure, citing her current marital vows, she instead took lodgings in town. Each dawn found her watching our home from afar. Emily's forced composure lasted 8 days before she slipped out at midnight. I followed silently to their clandestine meeting. Pressed against the cold exterior wall, I heard Sophia's voice break the stillness first, before coming here. "Michael had already told me everything. My reunion with him was closely tied to you." My heart skipped a beat before quickly calming. So this was what drove Sophia over the edge. Emily remained silent as Sophia hissed through clenched teeth, "What impressive scheming." Another stretch of quiet followed. I rose stealthily to peer through the window crack. "What of it?" Emily stood in the fluorescent light's shadow, her expression hidden from my vantage point. Her voice carried clinical detachment. "Weren't you the first to act despicably?" Sophia froze. "You knew?" "Of course. Emily's laugh dripped acid. I've loved John since 18. Adored him at 28. And at 32 this affection only grows. You're different. Restlessness runs in your veins. If it hadn't been Michael back then, it would have been Jack or Lee eventually. John's marriage to you became living hell. He saved me once. It's only right I return the favor. And if John finds out, hope tinged Sophia's voice. If he learns you manipulated his marriage, can you swear he won't resent you? For a moment, Emily stepped into the light. Her face unreadable. Saving someone isn't manipulation, I heard her say. Next morning when I approached Sophia, she began speaking, but I cut straight to it. I heard everything last night. Her eyes kindled with desperate light. John, she rasped, lips parched. Michael and I never, it was all. Our marriage was doomed from the start. I interrupted coldly. You never cared. Your parents and cousins always saw me as beneath you. Not once did you defend me. 6 years divorced. Both remarried. Yet you fly halfway across the world? How does this honor? I broke off with mirthless laughter. Sophia, let's end this cleanly. The last glimmer died in her eyes. When fate's thread snaps, part with grace. I threw her own words back. In the distance, Emily waved from the morning glow, our daughter in her arms. My lips curved as I strode past Sophia toward them, our child between us. Emily and I exchanged glances and smiled in unison. Hand in tiny hand, we three wandered deeper into the flower fields. Sunlight still dazzled. All days remained beautiful. A failed marriage isn't an ending, but the first step toward new happiness. As human beings, we all encounter various hardships and obstacles. What matters is holding true to your core. Someone will always fight through the mist to reach you.